Hello and welcome to another episode of Die of a Gold Coin Dealer or Die of a Gold Dealer. It's been a while since I put one of these videos out, content like this out. I haven't really done much in terms of the coin front. There are reasons for this. As you can see, I still got my hair long. I will cut it for charity one day. It's become attached to me, no pun intended. I'm also going grey, fantastic. I think you could, if you go back far enough and you look at my content, you can see me from sprightly young man to a man who's lost the will to live, but still here fighting the good fight. I Let's talk about the coins. Let's talk about why I haven't been around. There's going to be a lot lined up. I haven't thrown in the towel just yet. I still think I'll be around come September, maybe. I think September will be there or thereabouts. But there may be other add-ons that I do. I am committed to putting out everything I learn, but that's going to take a backseat over the next 6 weeks or so. There's so much to do. So yeah, I had a bit of luck. I set myself some goals at the start of the year. I think one was a fitness one was a reading one, which I haven't even, I'm nowhere near that. In all honesty, I've listened to a lot of audiobooks, but I've not read anything, so maybe that's a partial win. One was a financial goal. I've absolutely smashed out of the ballpark. I won't go into detail over what that goal was. I'll probably talk about it come the end of the year or when I do decide to stop making content. But I'd made it in May, so the 12 months income that I was expecting to make. I just had a crazy run on the stock market. I don't really care how the income's made. It doesn't matter if it comes on the business, it comes on the stamps, coins, dividends, stock market. It doesn't really matter to me. I just had to get the funding in, and I think I had 5 companies in a row, all big hitters. In like some of them, I think one of them I made like 30k on. One I made 10. A couple of them made 10k on. I owned one share for like 12 days. It was something ridiculous. I bought it and then it just shot up, and I went, "Oh, okay." So I was implementing a strategy where I'm after the dividend. I'm after the income because I know when I stop working, it's practically a pension. I'm just a lot younger, although I'm getting there. And the idea was invest it, and if the dividend's enough and the company's good enough after you've looked through the company accounts, then okay, fair enough, we'll buy it. And I just backed it big. I just, every time I sold, I just put everything into the new company. So it went from having a position in, I think it was like 68 and a half. Every time I made a profit, I just whacked, I kept putting it on. And because it's in my ISA, it's tax free. So yeah, I think I have 5 companies do that, 4 or 5 companies. So let's work it out. There is an irony because I had tobacco, and then I moved that into a supermarket fund, and then I rolled that into a healthcare fund, and then I rolled that into UKW, which is a solar fund. No, wind fund. And I rolled that into NESF, which is a solar fund. Yeah, 5 companies. So incredibly lucky. But that's one of the reasons why you haven't seen me trading much, because it's hard to get the motivation to trade when you're making obscene amounts of money. Like trading coins is hard. It's a really hard gig. People fail to realize this. There's people out there who make a lot of money, 6 figures and up. That's not the norm though. Like in any business, you got the people at the very top. They've been there, they've done it. And you got the people who they're really struggling. I had it recently. There was a gentleman who asked me for some consultancy work. I didn't actually charge him for consultancy work. I looked at his numbers and I just went, "You're crazy." He needed to make what I considered a challenge for me, and I've been doing this 9 years, on and off 9 years. And I just said, "Look, I'm not taking your money, but you need to change tact." And he did come back and he went, "Yeah, fair enough. Like I'll sell what I got." But a lot of people, it's grand opening and grand closing. It's very hard to make money trading coins. And if you're in the position where got the shop or you've got the infrastructure, you got the whole setup. It's not, you got to think of how much money you need to make just to break even. So you can have a quite a lucrative business. You have a couple months out of the year where there's no trade, and it turns from lucrative to actually that's kind of problematic. And then you might get robbed, and then you got all these other issues. There's a coin shop up north. It's only recently opened. Someone came in and asked him, said, "Oh, you're gonna pay me £1 million or something stupid." It's just rubbish like that. You know, not everyone's nice. You get some numpties, but you get people who are quite villainous as well, who will try and take from you. So to jump up, it's not just like to make good income. You could do that. To make the better income, it comes with a lot of risks. It's a very risky business these days, and the government's clamping down on it like big time. As much as I'm not gonna put a video out on that because it annoys me to no end, it's not a lie. There are restrictions on God. I think it will get worse. I'm not going to make clickbaity titles about that. I think my views should be taken with a pinch of salt, and everyone should go around and check what everyone else is talking about and then come to their own informed conclusion. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. But in terms of why there's not been much content, because the reality is when you can make 5 figures doing practically nothing, and then you're making £10 a coin. And I'm not gonna try and make more per coin. I think there's a responsibility to the buyer and seller. It's not me, just on a fundamental characteristic level. It's not me, but that's why I haven't been around. Now, in terms of moving forward, I'm not going to be around much anyway. I've got 3 major orders lined up. I'm practically doing it just so I can move these. I've found myself sitting on a very large position, and that's fine. That's okay. The market has gone down quite a lot since I started trading. There's too much competition of it. The Royal Mail is not really playing friendly with it these days. If I was the new owner of the Royal Mail, I would just say I'll buy all the stamps for 70% face value, get off the market, and just go digital. I think he'd make a lot of money doing it that way. It'd solve so many issues because you'd get rid of the stamps on the market. You'd force the counterfeiters underground. That's my view on it. I'd quite happily sell for 70%. I just got something on my laptop that's bugging me. But that's why I'm still trading. I don't need to trade for the money. In fact, I don't need the money. I'm so far ahead of where I need to be. I could have quit last August, and I stuck around. I think you get to a point as a man where you realise that you got responsibilities. And for me, I'm looking at my mother who's retired, but she's not earning a lot of money. And I'm like, well, if I can earn more, but I can set it up in a way that I can have passive income where I can give her a small amount each month, that's fine. That's not a problem. Now, in terms of why I said September, I've just applied to study in Germany. I'm not saying I'll get on the course. There's a few issues concerning it. Some are personal, some are on a university level. Basically, there's a place in Germany. I lived a bit in Germany, not for long, but there's a place in Germany that I'm very fond of in the Black Forest. Oh, there's a couple of places actually. So I'm applying for both, and one of them has got a massive coin department. Now, I know as a coin dealer, as an individual, I don't need to work. I just don't. But I've got to do something with my time. I really have got to find something to keep me occupied, because I don't want to just put my feet up for the next 40 years if I'm lucky, or unlucky, depending on if you're a nihilist. I'm going to need to do something, and I genuinely love dealing with coins, but I don't enjoy the business side of it. I don't enjoy the elbows out kind of approach that has developed since COVID amongst most people, and I can't be bothered. Like, I had someone ask me if they could have free postage, and just out of principle, I went no, because I don't know this person, and it's like, well, it's already a good deal. You know, you compare me to other dealers, it's already a good deal. Um, I don't like that. When when I came through the ranks, if a good deal was a good deal, people weren't trying to nickel and dime you. I don't know where that phrase has come from. I quite like it though. So yeah, there's a university in Germany that's got a massive coin department. But I studied international business, so I've got degrees up to a master's level. The degree I've applied for is a master's degree. I'm going to apply for another one in Stuttgart as well. I was looking at Basel too, but I've done well in life. I've not done well enough to retire and live in Basel. It's crazy expensive, crazy expensive. But yeah, I thought if the degrees I studied, they centered around business and culture and strategy. I studied international business, and the degree I've applied for with the coin department is social and cultural anthropology, which I've actually done a bit of in terms of my own personal interest. I think anyone who's interested in coins is fascinated by human behavior. So for me, I was like, well, I know I don't want to be a coin dealer. I don't want to deal with the hustle and bustle anymore. But I wouldn't mind working in a coin department somewhere that isn't a sales front. You know, I think I'd be very good at that. And maybe if I do something like that, it will give me a couple of years to recharge. I can maybe pick up a language, and maybe it might open a few doors. It could fail. I might get there, absolutely hate it, and just think, no, I really miss coin dealing. When I went to Australia, I remember thinking, oh, I'm so done with coin dealing because it was hard. I wasn't making that much money when I went to Australia. Or before I went to Australia. Like every month was, am I going to pay the bills? And some months I didn't. I just didn't have it. You borrow from the credit card to rob Pete's PayPal. But when I got back, I was like, no, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed dealing coins. I think it's the coin side that I'm trying to emphasize. I just want to do something that is with coins for my life, and I want the money side of it to be irrelevant, which it should be. Once I've lined it out, it should be. I've got enough to not worry, and I think that's what every person should strive for. You know, I've said for a long time that it's getting a lot harder for people, and people got to take precautions, but they got to take accountability as well. There is two sides to that coin, and I think for me, I took the accountability a long time, and now I'm thankfully in a position where I'm fine. It's not the same for everyone, you know. Am I in a position of privilege? I've bloody suffered for it, that's for sure. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's where I'm at in terms of the coins and trading and how long I'll be. Now, if, and this is a big if, I do go to that uni and I do manage to get into the coin department, it means that the channel isn't over as well. I do. I've gone through many iterations of this channel. I've gone through stages where I've loved putting the content out, and I've gone through stages where I've absolutely loathed putting the content out. But I think if I had something that kept me entertained and it's always something new, I think I'd enjoy that. I love putting things like, there's so many channels that I find, and I don't want to rag on any channel. I really don't. I'm kind of like an island in YouTube. I don't really reach out. I just do my own thing, and people gravitate towards it or they don't. But I think if I could have a constant supply of content that is unique and different, I'd enjoy doing that. What I was going to say, I went off on a tangent. I'm not a fan of the channels that constantly rehash the same things. And that's one of the reasons why I go missing for months, because I feel I've got nothing to say to the matter. Buy gold because it goes up because the government is constantly printing debt. I've been banging a drum for 6-7 years. You know, I don't need to constantly rehash that video. I know it. I've got wealthy off it. I hope the people who watch my content have got wealthier off it. But I don't need to keep saying, yeah, it's this, let's do this. And it's like, it's boring. I'm not shilling coins. I'm just a man who loves dealing with coins who managed to escape capitalism. Fantastic.